I think that I was just, living in this shame, living in all this sort of stuff of my past, and I wasn't able to move on. It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second.
Sean Diddy Combs once bragged that nothing happened in the music world without his blessing. For 3 decades, the claim felt true. Labels bowed, brands begged, and younger stars treated him like a sort of diamond-studded monarch. Yet, on the gray morning of May 16th, 2025, it took exactly one push notification to punch a crater straight through that aura. Inside a Manhattan federal courtroom, already buzzing with racketeering and sex trafficking testimony, Diddy gripped his phone out of pure habit. The screen lit up with an Instagram alert from Justin Bieber, the very prodigy Diddy used to parade around as Little Bro. In a 220-word statement, Bieber sided with Cassie Ventura, detailed 2 unnerving encounters he'd witnessed, and finished with a line that froze the gallery. "I stayed quiet for too long, not anymore." Observers say Diddy's face cycled through shock, betrayal, then outright fury in the span of a single heartbeat. The room, the trial, the wider industry, everything would shift before lunchtime. And it all began because a once-adoring protégé decided to break the unspoken code of silence. Here's how the empire cracked, one rumble at a time. Diddy's rise reads like a hustler's fairy tale. From promoting basement parties at Howard University to turning Bad Boy Records into a global hit factory, he sold more than music. He sold the illusion that rules didn't apply to him. Platinum plaques piled up next to Ciroc vodka deals, a Revolt media network, fashion ventures, even a reported $1 billion net worth. Industry veterans quietly admitted they'd never seen anyone network with such ferocity or retaliate with such cold precision when crossed. The bravado bred fear. A&R scouts whispered about artists who vanished from playlists after refusing favors. Publicists joked, half seriously, that a negative Diddy headline could trigger a midnight phone call to their boss. Hip-hop's ultimate insider ran his world like a private kingdom, handing out blessings or banishments as he pleased. But the same swagger that built the throne also birthed a rumor mill. Behind closed doors, people swapped stories of freak-off gatherings, marathon parties heavy on champagne, cameras, and mystery participants who supposedly signed ironclad NDAs. No one wanted to be quoted, yet everyone seemed to have heard something. The myths gathered dust for years, dismissed as tip-sheet gossip, until one woman changed the stakes. Cassie Ventura entered Diddy's orbit at 19, signed first as a singer, quickly recast as a girlfriend. On stage, she was the softly spoken R&B act. Offstage, according to later filings, she was coerced into voyeuristic marathons Diddy nicknamed freak-offs, sometimes lasting whole weekends, phones confiscated at the door. Victims rarely agreed to talk on record, but fragments bled out. A choreographer swore she'd seen bowls of prescription pills laid out beside champagne. A studio engineer claimed he once mixed a track, while a camera crew filmed an adjacent private performance. For every whistleblower, there was a counter-story of cash settlements, career threats, or flat denial. The cycle kept the truth murky enough to survive. Yet the rumors carried a pattern too eerie to ignore. Isolation, surveillance, blackmail-style video archives, and an almost ritual obsession with power dynamics. In group chats, young artists traded warnings. He'll promise you radio airplay, but watch the strings attached. By 2022, the phrase freak-offs felt like hip-hop's ugliest open secret, a specter waiting for daylight. Daylight arrived with a legal thunderclap on November 16, 2023. Cassie filed a lawsuit accusing Combs of decade-long abuse, coerced encounters, and violent control, including an alleged 2016 hotel hallway assault, later captured on leaked CCTV. The complaint cited drugs, weapons, even forced medical abortions. The next evening, Combs wired $20 million and secured a quick settlement. Publicly, both parties called it amicable. Privately, observers wondered if hush money had just changed hands. The move backfired. Instead of putting out the fire, the payout convinced prosecutors that Cassie's claims deserved a closer look. 4 months later, March 25, 2024, Homeland Security agents swarmed Diddy's mansions in Los Angeles and Miami. They hauled away hard drives, iPhones, and what one affidavit described as bulk quantities of electronic media believed to depict commercially facilitated exploitation. Tabloids reveled in the scenes, luxury cars ring-fenced by federal vans, neighbors filming on their own phones, Diddy's teenage twin daughters caught sobbing outside the gate. The raids ripped the lid off a sealed pressure cooker. Victims reached out to lawyers. Former employees spoke to grand juries. And a case the music world once called impossible suddenly looked inevitable. On May 12, 2025, the U.S. vs. Combs trial opened in Manhattan federal court. Charges: racketeering, sex trafficking across state lines, coercion, and obstruction. The 55-year-old mogul entered a plea of not guilty, flanked by a $7,000 an hour legal dream team. Cameras were barred. Courtroom sketch artists became internet celebrities overnight. Cassie testified on day 2. Calm, direct, she described how Diddy allegedly seized her passports, ordered staff to install Jeeps apps on her phone, and forced her into sex acts recorded as insurance. She painted a picture of a man obsessed with control down to her wardrobe colors. The jury leaned in so far, the judge reminded them to keep back. Cassie's voice never cracked, yet when the prosecution played that 2016 hallway video, the gasps rattled the ceiling tiles. Diddy's side dismissed her as a disgruntled ex-partner chasing relevance. But between Cassie's timeline and the trove of seized footage, the government signaled it could prove a pattern, key for racketeering. All Combs needed, his lawyer joked to reporters, was one character witness with real influence. Fate delivered exactly the opposite. Back in 2009, a baby-faced Justin Bieber accepted Diddy's invitation for what the rapper called a luxury crash course in being famous. For 48 hours, cameras tracked the 15-year-old singer, exploring mansions, nightclubs, and studio sessions. The clip still lives online, like a relic of early YouTube innocence. Over the years, fans noticed odd moments, an uncomfortable hug here, a comment about smelling incredible for 16 there. Memes came and went, but Bieber never publicly criticized his mentor. Even when rumors swirled about grooming, he simply distanced himself. In late 2024, he issued a brief statement saying he was never a victim, though he dodged specifics. Behind the scenes, however, insiders say Bieber watched Cassie's allegations with mounting guilt. He'd seen flashes of Diddy's temper, heard the shouted phone threats, and personally witnessed at least one after-party where Cassie left in tears. Silence, he later told friends, started to feel like complicity. 10:41 a.m., May 16, 2025. Court was in a short recess when millions of phones pinged simultaneously. Bieber's post landed with a sonic boom effect. Cassie showed unbelievable courage long before today. I saw the control. I saw the fear. Backstage at the 2015 VMAs, Combs jerked her by the arm so hard it left bruises. I said nothing. That ends now. I believe you, Cassie. Speak your truth. Within 3 minutes, hashtags I believe Cassie and Mute Diddy trended worldwide. TMZ spammed push alerts. Rolling Stone blasted a Bieber betrays mentor banner across its homepage. Inside the courthouse, whisper networks ignited. Reporters in the hallway bolted toward Wi-Fi zones to confirm the statement. Defense attorneys realized the magnitude first. Bieber wasn't a random pop star. He was the global pop star Diddy had publicly mentored. His credibility with younger jurors? Sky high. His follower count? 270 million, each one a potential juror in the court of public opinion. No cross-examination could erase that kind of influence. When Diddy read the post, witnesses say his reaction looked almost animal. Eyes glassy, nostrils flared, fists balled tight enough to bleach knuckles. Suddenly he stood, slamming the defense table so hard, a glass of water exploded.
After everything I did for that kid, loyalty means nothing,
he hissed, loud enough for the front row. The judge ordered an immediate recess. 2 U.S. Marshals flanked Combs as his lawyer pleaded, "Sean, think of the optics." Instead, Diddy lunged for his phone, shouting that the messages were doctored. Marshals locked his arms, the gallery erupted, and jurors were hustled out like evacuees. Court sketches later showed Diddy's veins bulging, tie askew, pupils wide with rage. Back in session, Judge Marlowe laid down the hammer. Psychiatric assessment. phone privileges revoked. Security posted an arm's length away for the rest of the trial. She reminded Combs that contempt could land him in a holding cell for the duration of proceedings. The mogul, who once curated every camera angle, now had zero control over the narrative. The meltdown ricocheted across Wall Street by mid-afternoon. Revolt Media's parent company dipped 18% before trading halted. A Xerox spokesperson announced a review of partnerships. Peloton scrubbed Diddy-curated playlists overnight. 50 Cent, never one to miss drama, posted a meme of an imploding skyscraper captioned, "Shoulda copped a plea, Playboy." Most damaging was the sudden courage it gave other insiders. Lawyers for two former Bad Boy assistants confirmed they were discussing possible cooperation. An ex-tour manager for Day 26 tweeted, "I kept the receipts." Even Usher's camp, long silent, released a 2-sentence note. Usher has been contacted by federal investigators and intends to follow all legal obligations. Analysts compared the shift to Hollywood's Weinstein moment. As one professor told NPR, Bieber's post functioned like a wedge. Once the first superstar defected, the code of silence collapsed. Brand strategists predicted Diddy's endorsements, once worth 9 figures, could be radioactive for a decade. And the trial? Prosecutors wasted no time. They introduced 2017 DMs between Cassie and Bieber to establish a long-standing pattern of concern, evidence that undercut the defense claim of sudden, money-driven fabrication. Jurors read Bieber's message on the big monitors. "This isn't normal, Cass. What he's doing isn't okay." According to pool notes, 2 jurors wiped away tears. Empires usually crumble under armies, scandals, or bankruptcy. Sean Combs' kingdom began disintegrating with a single ping on a locked courtroom phone. A star he once mentored tore off the velvet curtain, and beneath it, the world glimpsed an alleged machinery of fear, control, and exploitation. Now every unanswered DM, every NDA-sealed memory, every hard drive seized in those 2024 raids is a ticking alarm clock. Cassie's testimony lit the fuse. Bieber's confession threw gasoline. The next insider who steps forward may detonate the entire structure for good. So ask yourself, when the next notification lights up a screen, whose empire goes dark next?